Hey there, buddy. You know what's kind of crazy? We're living in a world where everyone seems obsessed with chasing happiness, like it's some treasure hidden at the end of a rainbow somewhere out there. We spend our days scrolling through social media, hunting for that perfect moment, that ideal life, that elusive feeling of complete contentment. But here's a shocker that might blow your mind. The truth is, the ancient Stoics, folks who lived over 2,000 years ago, had already figured out something we're still struggling with today. They understood deep down that happiness isn't something you just stumble upon. It's something you actively create every single day through your choices, your outlook, and your determination to develop inner resilience. Marcus Aurelius, that Roman emperor and philosopher of Stoicism, kept a journal where he wrote, "Happiness and freedom start with one simple understanding. Some things are within our control and others are not." Think about that for a second. The most powerful man in the empire wasn't wasting energy trying to control whether his whole kingdom was happy. Instead, he focused on controlling his reactions to whatever life threw at him. This isn't about pretending everything's okay when it's not, or putting on a fake smile and ignoring real problems. No, it's about grasping a core truth that can change how you experience being alive. Your happiness isn't dependent on what happens to you. It's how you choose to respond to what happens that matters most. Right now, as you're listening, you might be dealing with stress at work, relationship problems, money worries, or health issues. Maybe you're overwhelmed by the pressure to succeed, to be perfect, or to have everything figured out. But what if I told you that some of history's wisest people faced exactly those same struggles? What if I told you they developed a practical, no-nonsense approach to finding calm and strength even in the chaos of life? The mindset of the Stoics isn't about being emotionless or detached from reality. Instead, it's about staying connected to your core, your character, your choices, and your ability to find meaning in each moment. It's about pushing yourself to seek happiness not because life's always easy, but because you've cultivated enough inner strength to choose happiness no matter what's going on around you. See, most folks wait for happiness to just happen to them. They think, "I'll be happy when I get that promotion, or when I find the right partner, or when I have enough money, or when everything finally falls into place." But Stoics knew something revolutionary: happiness isn't a destination. It's a daily practice, a conscious decision to focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't. Remember Epictetus, a former slave turned renowned Stoic teacher who said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That wasn't coming from a place of privilege. It was rooted in deep understanding of human nature and how to find fulfillment. Today, I want to share 5 powerful Stoic principles that can genuinely change your daily life. These aren't just empty philosophies. They're practical tools you can start using right now to build lasting peace and happiness. Each of these principles touches on a different part of personal growth, and taken together, they form a solid foundation for a life of true contentment. This journey we're about to go on isn't about trying to change your external world. It's about transforming how you respond inside. It's about discovering that you have way more power over your happiness than you probably think, and that power lies in your daily choices to find joy, peace, and resilience, no matter what life throws at you. Before I get into these transformative principles, I've got a small favor to ask. If this message is already hitting home for you, if you're ready to start taking control of your happiness rather than waiting around for it to show up, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment below, sharing one thing you're ready to take responsibility for in your life. Share this video with someone who needs this message today, and make sure to subscribe because we're going to keep exploring these powerful ideas together. Don't skip any part. Each principle builds on the last, and by the end, you'll have a complete map for daily happiness and inner strength. The ancient Stoics believed philosophy wasn't just for scholars, it was meant for living. Today, we're going to prove them right. If you're ready to push yourself to find happiness every day, type in the comments, "I choose happiness through inner strength every day." Number 1. Master your morning mindset, foundation of daily happiness. Here's something that might totally change how your day starts. The first 30 minutes after waking set the emotional tone for the next 16 hours. Most people stumble out of bed, grab their phones, and fill their minds with news, social media, and everyone else's problems before they've even had a chance to connect with themselves. But the Stoics knew that the morning is sacred, the place where you plant either seeds of peace or chaos. Marcus Aurelius used to practice a morning routine detailed in his meditations. Each day he'd remind himself, today, I'll deal with people who might be ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, or jealous. It's inevitable. But then he'd add, and I have seen both good and evil, and I understand that even the wrongdoer has qualities similar to my own. That's not negativity, it's preparation. He was setting his mind to reality, not fantasy, choosing to approach each day with understanding rather than expectations. Think about your typical morning. Do you wake up feeling rushed and anxious, already behind before the day even starts? Do your thoughts quickly spiral into worries about your problems, your to-do list, things that might go wrong? Or do you carve out a moment to intentionally shape your mindset for the day ahead? The Stoic morning routine isn't about fancy apps or complicated rituals. It's about three simple but powerful choices. First, accept that challenges are part of the day. That's perfectly normal. Second, remind yourself that you have the strength to handle whatever comes. Third, focus on what you can control, the way you act, your effort, and how you respond to others. When you get this right, something incredible happens. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond thoughtfully. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you're prepared. Instead of hoping for a perfect day, you create one through your mental preparation. Here's a quick practical tip. Tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, spend 5 minutes asking yourself these three questions. What am I grateful for right now? What's one thing I can do today to move forward? And how do I want to show up today? These aren't just feel-good questions, they're strategic. They're programming your brain for success and happiness. Neuroscience confirms this. Starting your day with positive, intentional thoughts activates the prefrontal cortex, brain's decision maker, helping you build stronger neural pathways for resilience and joy. But here's what makes this truly stoic. You're not trying to control what happens in your day. Instead, you're controlling how you approach it. You're not setting yourself up for disappointment by expecting everything to go perfectly. You're preparing yourself to handle whatever reality brings with strength. Seneca, another well-known Stoic, said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." Your morning is that new start and end to yesterday's worries, mistakes, and limitations. When you master this morning mindset, you give yourself permission to start fresh, choosing happiness and building strength the moment you open your eyes. This practice is even more powerful when you understand that happiness isn't about dodging difficulties. It's about facing them with the right attitude. When you prepare your mind early in the day, you're not promising a smooth ride, but you're building the mental muscles to find peace or even joy amid the storms. The Stoics, who navigated wars, plagues, political upheavals, and personal tragedies, didn't have easy lives. But they had something more valuable: disciplined, trained minds. They knew that external circumstances are fleeting, but your internal response is your choice, moment by moment. So starting tomorrow, you have an opportunity, an invitation to join this tradition, to master your morning mind instead of letting it master you, to set the tone for happiness rather than letting circumstances dictate your mood. You can choose to push yourself toward peace and resilience as soon as you wake up. Drop this affirmation in the comments: I master my morning mind and choose my daily attitude. Number 2. Transform pain into purpose, the alchemy of tough times. Here's a fact that might make you uncomfortable at first. Some of your greatest growth moments and deepest happiness aren't born from easy days, but from the hardest ones. This idea runs counter to everything we've been told about avoiding pain and chasing pleasure. But the Stoics discovered something profound. Human beings aren't built to find happiness only through comfort. Instead, we find purpose, meaning, and yes, even joy, through how we respond to difficulty. Epictetus, who knew suffering first in being a former slave and enduring physical disability, used to tell his students, "Don't just explain your philosophy of it." His words weren't theoretical, they came from real experience. He understood that life's hardest moments aren't obstacles to happiness. They're the raw materials for building unshakable inner strength. Right now, you might be facing something overwhelming, maybe a crumbling relationship, a job that drains you, health scares, or financial worries that keep you awake at night. Your instinct might be to wish these problems away. But what if instead of trying to escape your struggles, you learn to transform them into the very foundation of your happiness? That's the Stoic way. It's not about toxic positivity or pretending pain isn't real. It is realos, disappointment, heartbreak, but the key is in how you respond. The Stoics understood that pain itself isn't the problem. It's the belief that pain equals suffering. When you change that belief, when you turn pain into a purpose, you elevate your response. Instead of just suffering, you ask yourself, what is this situation teaching me about my own resilience? How is this challenge revealing strengths I didn't know I had? What sort of person am I becoming through how I handle this? Think about those you admire most. Are they people who have never faced hardship? Or are they those who have been through storms and come out wiser, more compassionate, stronger? The difference isn't in what happened. They have all faced tough times, it's in how they chose to let those experiences shape them. Viktor Frankl, the guy who survived the Nazi concentration camps, captured this perfectly. He said, "Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing the last of human freedom to choose one's attitude in any given circumstance." In the worst moments imaginable, he found that meaning and peace come from how we choose to respond to suffering. This process, which I call the Stoic alchemy, involves 3 steps. First, acknowledge reality without judgment. Yes, this is tough. Second, distinguish what you can control, your attitude, your effort, from what you cannot influence, the situation, other people. And third, ask the growth question. How can I use this challenge to become more resilient, wiser, or more compassionate? For example, losing a job can crush your confidence and create financial stress. But if you look at it through Stoic eyes, you'll ask things like, what skills did I neglect that I can develop now? What kind of work environment really aligns with who I am? How can this change help me find a career that truly reflects my values? The pain doesn't just disappear, it's transformed into fuel for improvement. This approach works because it gives you agency or power to act instead of react. When you turn pain into purpose, you're not just a victim of circumstances, you are an active participant in your growth. Instead of waiting for life to get easier, you get stronger with each challenge. And here's the cool part. Each time you successfully turn difficulty into an opportunity to grow, you build confidence. You start to see obstacles not as threats to your happiness, but as chances to test your resilience. Your capacity for joy isn't fragile, it's antifragile, actually gets stronger when pressured. That doesn't mean you seek pain, but it does mean you stop fearing it, and you develop what the Stoics call the discipline of desire, learning to want what happens instead of wishing for what doesn't. When you master this mindset, you'll discover something incredible. You can genuinely be happy, even when life throws curveballs. The ancient Stoics weren't just philosophers, they were people facing real problems like war, illness, family tragedies, and even exile. And they developed these practices precisely because they worked deep, because they led to authentic peace and happiness amid chaos. So, from today onward, when something goes wrong, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking instead, "How is this happening for me?" Or, "This is tough, but I can grow through it." Small shift, huge impact. Because it's not about avoiding difficulties. It's about finding purpose in them, strength, wisdom, and resilience that emerge when you face pain head-on. Now I want you to drop this in the comments. I transform my challenges into strength and purpose. Number 3. Release the need to control everything, secret to true freedom. Ready for a mind blower? Most of your stress, anxiety, and unhappiness come from trying to control things that were never meant to be controlled in the first place. Right now, you're likely carrying the weight of other people's opinions, future worries, past mistakes, and circumstances entirely outside your influence, exhausting yourself trying to manage an unmanageable universe, and then wondering why you feel overwhelmed. The Stoics had a revolutionary insight about this. Epictetus taught about the dichotomy of controlsome things are within our power, others aren't. Simple enough. But here's the game changer. The things within our power are our opinions, motivation, desires, and responses. Everything else other people's behavior, the weather, the stock market, past or future are outside our control. Think about how much mental energy you spend every day worrying about that second category. How much happiness have you postponed, waiting for perfect conditions people to do what you want, outcomes to match your expectations? That's not living, that's fighting a battle you'll never win. But here's the paradox. When you stop trying to control everything, you actually gain control over the one thing that truly matters to your inner state. When you let go of trying to manage the uncontrollable, you free up so much mental and emotional energy to focus on what you can influence. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, confine yourself to the present. Even the most powerful emperor couldn't control tomorrow or undo yesterday. The only moment where you truly hold power is right now, and the one domain you fully control is your own mind. Picture this. You're stuck in traffic and rushing to an important meeting. The old version of you would be furious, honking, checking your phone, hearts pounding with frustration. But if you embrace the Stoic approach, something different happens. You recognize that traffic is outside your control. Getting angry doesn't do anything but make the cars go faster. What can you control? Your reaction. You can take deep breaths, listen to some calm music, or accept the delay and adjust your expectations. This isn't giving up, this is active wisdom. You're reclaiming control from situations that never deserved it. When you stop demanding that others behave exactly as you want, your relationships improve dramatically. When you stop trying to change people, your partner, your kids, your friends, you make space for genuine connection. You accept them as they are instead of resenting them for not being perfect. Seneca said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." And that's exactly what happens when you stop trying to control everything. The end of your need to micromanage is the beginning of peace. The end of fighting reality is the start of working with it. Now, let's be honest. This is one of the toughest things to practice. Your mind's been conditioned to think that if you're not constantly worrying or planning or trying to control, you're being irresponsible or passive. Society says that successful people are in control of their lives, and that's partly true. But the real key is understanding what control actually means. It means taking responsibility, owning your choices, your effort, your attitude, your reactions. It doesn't mean trying to control the outcomes or the behavior of everyone else. It's about showing up fully where you can influence and letting go of attachment to what you can't. That's the thing that gives true freedom. When you get this, you realize that you don't need to manage the whole universe, you just need to manage yourself. When you stop trying to control everything, you focus all your energy on creating the best inputs, your efforts, your kindness, your integrity. Then, even if life doesn't go as planned, you'll handle it with grace. Start practicing awareness throughout your day. Notice when you're trying to control things outside your influence. When you feel frustration because reality isn't matching your expectations. When you're stressed about future worries or past regrets. And in each moment, ask yourself, is this something I can actually change? Or am I wasting my mental resources fighting what's unchangeable? Then, pivot. Focus your attention on what you can influence right now. Preparing well for an interview, showing up authentically, being adaptable when things go awry. This isn't about passivity but strategic engagement. When you master this, you'll become way more effective because all your energy flows into things you can change. Number 4. Practice grateful perspective, a daily remedy for a joyful heart. Here's a simple truth that can totally shift your view. You already have access to more happiness and beauty than you probably realize. But most of us are conditioned to look everywhere except where it actually exists. Right now, as you listen to me, you're surrounded by miraculous, everyday stuff we tend to overlook. You've got a beating heart that's pumped millions of times without you even thinking about it. You've got eyes that see thousands of colors and details. Your mind can imagine, create, and connect across time and space. Yet instead of marveling at all this, many of us focus on what's missing or wrong. The Stoics understood something revolutionary. Gratitude isn't just a warm, fuzzy feeling, it's vital for happiness. But they didn't just make lists of good things and hope that made them feel better. They practiced what I call philosophical gratitude, deep, intentional recognition of abundance, even amidst hardship. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, when you wake up in the morning, think of what a miracle it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to love. Notice he didn't say, when everything in your life is perfect. He said when you wake up every day, good or bad, rich or poor, easy or hard. That's foundational gratitude, acknowledging the miracle of existence itself. And here's the powerful part. They practiced negative visualization. Seneca advised his students to imagine losing what they hold dearest, health, loved ones, freedom, not to foster anxiety, but to deepen appreciation. When you consider what life would be like without your relationships or your comforts, your heart begins to notice how precious they are. Think about those people you see every day, your friends, family, coworkers. Now imagine their absence. That ache you feel, that's gratitude in disguise. It's your heart recognizing the value that's been there all along, hidden behind familiarity. This habit can totally transform you. When you regularly reflect on the fact that everything, your blessings, your loved ones, your health is temporary, you stop taking it for granted. You start noticing the small, beautiful moments in life that you usually rush past. Slowly, you see life as the extraordinary gift it truly is. And gratitude doesn't just mean appreciating the good times. The Stoics also taught that you can be grateful for the difficult moments, because those are the ones that stretch you the most. Epictetus kept telling his students that everything that happens can be an opportunity for growth. When faced with hardship, ask instead, what can I be grateful for in this situation? Maybe a tough loss teaches you resilience. Maybe an illness makes you appreciate the strength of your body. Maybe a broken relationship reveals your capacity to love despite complications. Here's a practical exercise. Each night, instead of dwelling on what went wrong, spend 5 minutes listing 3 things you're genuinely grateful for. But it's not just about listing, they have to really sink in. Feel them, imagine life without them, and let gratitude move from your head to your heart. It might be a big thing, your health, your family, or a small thing, finding clean water, a kind word from a stranger, the fact that your car started this morning. This rewires your brain. Neuroscience shows that gratitude strengthens neural pathways, making it easier to notice good things and harder to dwell on negative thoughts. Over time, practicing gratitude becomes a superpower. It helps you fall in love with your actual life flaws and all, rather than wishing for some perfect, imaginary version of it. The Stoics endured wars, plagues, political chaos, and personal tragedies, yet they had something priceless. Trained minds that could see abundance even in scarcity, beauty in pain, and reasons to be grateful even in darkness. Cicero, their great orator and thinker, summed it up. A thankful heart is not only the greatest virtue but the parent of all others. When you commit to gratitude daily, it becomes the fertile soil for courage, wisdom, justice, and temperance. It's the foundation from which all positive qualities grow. Starting tonight, why not stop postponing gratitude until everything's perfect? Instead, begin seeing the perfection already present in your messy, miraculous, and beautiful life. Drop this in the comments. I see abundance and beauty in my life right now. And finally, number 5. Build an unshakable sense of worth, the foundation that no storm can topple. Here's the most freeing truth you'll ever hear. Your worth as a human being has nothing to do with your accomplishments, your money, your looks, your relationship status, or what other people think. This might go against everything society teaches us about success and happiness, but it's the key to lasting contentment that can't be ripped away by changing circumstances. Most folks base their sense of value on shaky ground. They feel good when they succeed, and terrible when they fail. They're buoyed by approval and crushed by criticism. That's an endless roller coaster. Your happiness depends on things you can't control. The Stoics saw differently. They knew that true happiness comes from anchoring your identity on unshakable principles. Epictetus told his students, wealth isn't measured by possessions but by having few wants. And he wasn't just talking about money, meant inner security, knowing that your worth doesn't change with your bank account or status. Look at people who seem genuinely peaceful, regardless of their external circumstances. It's not that they're always smiling. They have learned to cultivate a quiet confidence that's rooted in character, effort, and living according to their values. They understand the Stoic truth. Your real worth comes from inside your effort, your integrity, your commitment to growth regardless of external wins or losses. This doesn't mean you stop setting goals or trying to improve your life. Instead, you stop making your happiness hinge on those goals. The moment you realize that happiness isn't about achieving perfection, but about the kind of person you're becoming, peace and integrity, you develop along the way. You are on a new path. Marcus Aurelius captured this perfectly when he said, "Remember that very little can truly disturb us. It's our opinion about things that does." Even with all his power and wealth, he knew that happiness came from inside. Building your inner worth based on your character and your virtues what truly matters. When your sense of value isn't tethered to external stuff, your relationships change. You can love more freely because you don't need other people's approval. You're less affected by their moods or judgments, so you can respond with compassion instead of defensiveness. And you're free from the trap of trying to prove yourself, meaning you can focus on adding real value to others' lives. This principle also radically shifts how you face setbacks. When your worth isn't dependent on being perfect, failure becomes feedback, not an identity crisis. If you stop tying your self-esteem to always winning, you're free to take risks, learn, and grow without the paralyzing fear of not being good enough. The practical step: every day spend a moment reflecting not on your achievements or failures but on your core values. Ask, what kind of person do I want to be? How do I want to treat others, regardless of how they treat me? What principles will guide me not just for external success but for who I am inside? Seneca warned, every man is a slave to fear if he depends on fortune. When your happiness depends on external circumstances, you're living at their mercy. But if you anchor your worth in your inner qualities, your integrity, compassion, courage, you are free. It's not easy. It takes practice, patience, and kindness toward yourself. But every day you focus inward, affirming your worth based on who you are rather than what you have, you move closer to genuine peace. Identify one area where you're seeking external validation: in your job, your appearance, your social media likes, or your relationships. And for the next week, focus on finding satisfaction in your effort, not just the end results. Be gentle with yourself if things don't go perfectly. Remember, your true worth was established the moment you were born. You're a miracle full of potential for growth, love, and contribution. The Stoics didn't have perfect lives, but they had something precious: a rock-solid internal foundation. They built their happiness on bedrock, not on shifting sands, so no external storm could ever shake their peace. You can do the same. You can choose to ground your worth in your character and your value as things that no recession, rejection, or setback can touch. And here's the best part. When you finally internalize this truth, you'll discover a paradox: when you stop chasing external validation, you often attract more of it. But by then, you won't need it anymore. That's when you'll realize you're truly free. So, as you step back into your daily life, remember this: happiness isn't something that simply happens to you. It's something you create through your choices, perspective, and daily commitment to growth. The 5 principles we've covered aren't just lofty ideas, they are practical tools that have helped countless people find peace and joy over the past 2,000 years. You now know how to set your morning mindset for happiness, turn pain into purpose, release the need to control everything, practice gratitude, and build a resilient sense of worth. But knowledge alone isn't enough. Real change begins when you start applying these principles in your life. Start small. Pick the one that resonates most with you and commit to practicing it for the next week. Watch how your experience, your relationships, and your inner peace begin to change. Remember, the Stoics didn't develop these skills because life was easy. They built them because life was hard and they refused to let hardship steal their happiness. You have the same power. You have that choice every single day to choose happiness through inner strength, wisdom, and purpose. It's not in your circumstances. It's in you. It's in your mind and your ongoing commitment to cultivate an internal life capable of weathering any storm and finding joy in every season. If this message has touched you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, leave a comment with your biggest takeaway, and subscribe. We're creating a community focused on real, lasting happiness rooted in inner strength. Now go out there every day and choose happiness.